Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I have guests on from the LaGrange Police Department, and also I have a special guest, a LaGrange intern that has been with the City of LaGrange for about 3 months. So you want to make sure you come back and watch those interviews in just a moment.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. During the summer season, remember these safety tips. Keep combustible material a safe distance away from heat sources. Always use a flashlight, not a candle, for emergency lighting. Install working smoke alarms on every level of your home, inside and outside sleeping areas. If you have a fire hydrant near your home, keep it clear of debris for easy access by the fire department. And remember, if you have an emergency and you need the LaGrange Fire Department, the big red truck is just a phone call away. Have a safe summer.
Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have on a special guest. Unlike some of my usual guests, this young man is an intern with the City of LaGrange. He's a student at the University of West Georgia working on a dual degree. He will be completing his master's in public administration. He's also working on his JD in law. I want to welcome to the guest, or welcome to the set today, Rob Kelly. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, definitely.
Well, Rob, now you have been with us here interning for about 3 months, and as I stated, you're a student there at University of West Georgia. I'm sorry,
Well,
your undergraduate degree is from West Georgia.
Exactly.
Sociology and marketing degree.
Psychology and marketing.
Okay.
And then right now I'm at UGA with my law and mass public administration.
Wonderful. Now let's talk a little bit. Now, Rob, I know that some of the viewers are probably going to hear a hint of an accent.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about where are you from?
Okay. Well, originally I was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and was raised in Stratford, Connecticut. But both of my parents are actually from Jamaica, and so I did move down there when I was young. And but I came back up and it never really left me. And so I do try to go back as often as possible. But if you hear the slight accent, my parents from Jamaica.
Okay, so you came south for an education to get a little southern like you all and like us, right? Okay. Let me ask you, how has it been for you here in the South?
In the South, I think there are a lot of differences. But I think one of the things that really drew me down here was the opportunities that are present for young individuals trying to be professionals, just scholarship opportunities, internship opportunities in the South. I think it's just a lot more easy, and as long as you're focused and dedicated, it's very, you're going to be successful. And so I think that's kind of what drove me down here.
Oh, okay. Well, very good. Now, it stated earlier, you've been here with the City of LaGrange for about 3 months interning.
I have.
Talk a little bit about how were you able to go through it, and what were some of the things that you did to prepare yourself to intern? Because I think this was not the only city that you've interned. I think you were down in Valdosta as well. Talk about how you prepared yourself to receive internships.
Okay, well, first you definitely want to know kind of what you would like to do. You want to know what your skill sets are, and then you want to look for somewhere that you feel like can allow you to grow in an area that you probably haven't grown before. But you definitely want to demonstrate the ability to be an asset to them as well. And so in coming here, I just kind of looked for somewhere that kind of was in the area of things that I wanted to do more of. I was a law student mainly back then when I first applied. And I had a lot of knowledge about kind of like how laws work and the theoretical perspective of why we create laws, but I wanted some more of the hands-on administration type things. Once the laws come down, how does it actually get put into work, and how does that work? Okay. And so that's what I was kind of looking for with LaGrange.
Oh, okay. Was there any particular person, or how is it that you landed here at the City of LaGrange, Rob?
Well, I just saw this great individual.
Okay.
I think up in Carrollton, his name was Alton West.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know that he was working for the City of LaGrange, and just taking the initiative and asking him about if there were any opportunities, and then I sent you my resume and my in a cover letter, just saying that I was interested in seeking if you guys had any options available.
Okay, and we gotta mention that wonderful fraternity that we belong to. So you can go ahead and do that too.
Yes, we both belong to Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
That's right, absolutely. Now you've been here with us now, Rob, as stated, for about 3 months. You had an opportunity to kind of visit some of the various departments. Talk about that and how you will utilize that going back and to finish up your degrees.
Okay, so one of my first assignments was going to not each department, but a good amount of the departments that LaGrange has, such as the police department, landscaping and cemeteries. Got to visit even Troup County Jail for a day. Just
as a visitor now, right?
As a visitor.
Okay,
as a visitor.
okay.
And so from that experience, you really get a close, in-depth view of what it really takes to run a city. I would definitely say that I didn't even think about, sometimes we take for granted everything that goes into allowing us to enjoy as citizens, just the, crossing the street or, walking out and having clean streets or, being, having your garbage picked up. Things like that we take for granted, and we don't always recognize the people that, work hard to make those kind of luxuries that we have, available. And so I really appreciate that opportunity to kind of see some of the inner workings of the city and learning from that experience.
Absolutely. Talking about taking for granted, we get rid of trash, we put it out there and it's picked up, taken away. We don't have any concern about where it goes, but, it goes, in our case, it goes out to a Subtitle D landfill, that we sell methane gas off to other industries here in our community. And I know that Tom Hall has worked with you. Talk about the experience that he has shared with you over his years, because Tom is a brilliant leader.
I would say that I have gained so much respect for Tom Hall, as city manager of LaGrange. And I think a lot of people probably don't realize how much work he actually does. But just the efficiency that he has in looking at the government and taking things that, a lot of other people would take for granted and just say, okay, well, that's waste. But just like you just said, like taking the landfill waste and we have this methane gas and finding a way to make that profitable for citizens. And I think it's really decisions like that why, there's not a property tax in LaGrange. And so just having him as a mentor, has really taught me so much about, because he's such an intelligent and he's always willing to give knowledge and his wisdom down. And I think that's been one of the most beneficial things to me as a upcoming professional, is to kind of have that guidance from Tom Hall.
Absolutely. I've worked with Tom for a number of years now, and it's just, it never ceases to amaze you.
Yeah.
The things that he come up with, and things that you may have talked with him about some months ago that he'll still remember, and then you sitting there scratching your head like, wait a minute, did that actually happen? But
if I could say one more thing,
sure.
I definitely want to make sure. I think one of the things I really like the most is that he's been doing this for years, and he never made me feel as though anything I was saying was not important. Anything I offered or any recommendation I had, he really took it into consideration and considered it, and would say, okay, that's a great idea. Well, let's see how this can happen, or well, why don't you think about X, Y, and Z? And so that was I really appreciated that.
Absolutely. And talking about that, I know that there were a couple of projects that you worked on, and you saw some of those things put into action. Definitely. Talk about that, Rob, and how that make you feel as well.
I mean, it was awesome. I worked on the PEG policy, which is a policy that governs what we play on LGTV. It stands for Public Educational Access Channel. And so I actually got the opportunity to formulate and draft the policy that was actually voted on about 2 weeks ago, and actually went into action. So I guess I'm a type of policy maker in the summer. So that was pretty great. I did the budget analysis for Tom Hall, which looking at last year's predictions against what we actually end up spending, and I'm providing just feedback, which you guys were awesome. So it's pretty close to what you guys estimated. But just that opportunity to do like real life work was great.
I heard you mention when you first started out talking about you had gotten like the practical side of it, the understanding from the textbook, but then to actually do the hands-on things and saw them to come to fruition, it's just like, wow, this is how it really it works. And I know there was another project that you worked on, reviewing some application. Talk about that too.
Okay, so was it probably my second day on the job? He hands me a stack of resumes for the Move the Mountain program, and he says, "All right, look these over and pick your top 3 for for, who do you think would be great for the executive director position? And, I kind of froze for a second. I'm trying to like go back through all the, lessons that I learned in school and saying, okay, like, what's the, what kind of things should I be looking towards in, going in filling this task? And so, there was about maybe 13, 14. And so, just screening through them and, looking at their skills and the experience, I did provide them a memo with 3 recommendations of who I thought were the best candidates.
Okay.
And I actually had a meeting with you guys the next day.
That's right.
And you guys agreed.
That's right. Absolutely. And anytime you're looking at resumes or any project, and sometimes when you're so close to that project, you don't necessarily see all the other opportunities. And I think having you come in with those fresh eyes, with the fresh ideas, and the fresh look at it, it kind of, oh, okay, well, yeah, let's look at this at a different, different light. Now, you've been with us here now. You've done some great jobs and everything. And, we're sitting down here with you today, August the 1st. Unfortunately, today will be your last day. You'll be going back. Yeah, some sad times. You'll be going back to finish up your career at the University of Georgia. Talk about individuals that might want to do something like what you have done. What advice can you give them, Rob?
I would definitely say be proactive. Take the initiative. If you know that there is something that you kind of want to do and you want to get more experience in, because there was no applications that were sent out by City of LaGrange saying announcing an internship or anything like that. But I just saw the opportunity. I knew that I want to get some practical experience, and so I kind of took the initiative to reach out, to send my resume, to send the cover letter, asking, and the worst someone can say is no.
That's
and
right.
so, just be bold, be confident, know what your skills are, know what you have to bring to the table, and, put yourself out there. And a lot of times it's not about who it's about who knows you. And so if you never put yourself out there for anyone to know you, then you really can expect to get any results.
Very good. I have thoroughly enjoyed you being here.
Thank
And
you.
a lot of them said you've been very quiet, but you've been working. A lot of things that you worked on that, have, like I say, they've come to fruition now. We've enacted them, and I know that Tom has enjoyed having you here. Future plans. Talk about, because you'll be graduating with your master's degree, and then shortly after that, talk about future plans.
Okay, future plans. I try not to box myself into a position, but I definitely know what type of work I want to do, and it's things kind of like I was doing this summer. Being able to be in a either local government or maybe state level, maybe, but something where I'm able to impact people on a substantial level. A lot of you guys come into work every day and you're solving problems, solving issues that people are having, and so it's that type of work that I see myself doing in the future. Okay. So yeah, something like that.
Oh, very good. Well, again, Rob, we are very happy to have had you here with us for the 3 months, and I know that hopefully you'll be coming back to visit us and,
of course,
and share other knowledge that you have gained over the years once you get your law degree, and I'm glad to have you as a fraternity brother as well.
Thank you, sir.
All
I
right.
appreciate that.
Well, Rob, I wish you the very best in all your endeavors.
Thank you, and
All
thank
right.
the City of LaGrange for having me.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment.
I'm Damon Jones with American Medical Response, Troup County EMS. Here to remind you this summer, be especially careful for heat exhaustion. The body's an amazing thing, but it has a hard time or a difficult time coping with the Georgia heat and Georgia humidity. So try to plan your days accordingly. If you know you're going to be outside for extended periods of time, then make sure you drink plenty of fluids. Some early signs of heat exhaustion would be edema. The swelling of your feet, the swelling of your hands. If you start noticing this happening, then you need to immediately find somewhere cool to go. Drink plenty of fluids, and if needed, call 911 or call us for help. Heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke. Heat stroke's very serious. It can lead to loss of consciousness, even death. So, this is Damon again with American Medical Response, Troup County EMS, reminding you to be safe this summer. If you have any questions, we're here for you. Stop by the office or give us a call.
Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have a guest on from the LaGrange Police Department. I have Lieutenant Dale Armstrong, and we'll be talking with him along with my co-host Rob Kelly here. Lieutenant, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, I want to start out by talking about, I know the school is getting started on August the 8th, and there's going to be a number of kids out on the road, driving, school buses. I wanted to talk a little bit about safety for the parents and the kids and everything, and I'm going to allow my co-host to kind of start out with the questioning here, okay? Very good.
Definitely. And once again, thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is some tips, general, that you'd give for students and parents regarding riding the school bus?
Okay. Well, school bus, of course, it's a big vehicle, and it's a safe vehicle in itself. But where we have trouble sometimes are kids waiting to go to on the school bus, and then parents or other drivers driving around the school bus. So let's just talk about kids waiting for the school bus. Okay. When you're waiting, you should stand off the road. Naturally, don't stand in the street or anything. Just stand off the road on a safe place, maybe grass or something like that, a driveway if you have someone there. Hopefully a parent's waiting with some adult that's there. And then when the school bus comes, of course, when it stops, get on when the bus driver says to get on. For folks around the school bus, they've changed a little bit. When I was growing up, they had just the yellow flashing lights, and then they had the red lights, and they've gone from that to the stop sign comes out to let you know that. Now the school buses have the red flashing lights, the yellow flashing lights, and even in the back of some of the newer ones, they have a sign that says prepare to stop. If you're behind it, let you know that's when the yellow lights are flashing, but it's also telling you, hey, we're fixing to stop. And then the red lights will come out, and the sign in the back of the bus will say stop, and then the red lights are flashing, the stop sign comes out. And when that happens, no car should be passing that school bus. They should not pass it from the rear, should not pass it from the front. And the ones from the front should not even get really close to the school bus, because kids may cross from one side of the road to where the school bus is. And then that's when the kids should enter the bus, and then when the bus driver sees it's clear, they'll turn off the lights, and then they'll continue on.
Great. Let me ask you, Lieutenant Armstrong, we're talking about, going to stage to get prepared to get on the school bus and everything. A number of times in the mornings, you may see kids walking to the bus stop, and there's sidewalks there, but you see them walking in the street. What advice can you give them in reference to that?
Well, I like to just do it in simplest terms. Streets are for cars. Sidewalks are for people. Okay, and that's why they're there for. I mean, a lot of subdivisions have sidewalks so that they are safe. Sidewalks are generally 9 feet away from the road. Which is a safe distance to be. So if you are a pedestrian, if there is a sidewalk, one, you're required by law to do it, to walk on the sidewalk rather, and two, that's the safest place to be. So wait on the sidewalk, walk on the sidewalk, stay out of the street. If there is no sidewalk and there's a shoulder, walk on the shoulder, okay? If there is no shoulder, then you should walk on the side of the road closest to the edge, so that way you're not in the street. But in some places, though, you'll see folks strode out the whole street walking, and that's just unsafe. It's illegal, it's unsafe. So always walk closest to the road edge if you have to be in the road, but off-road is best.
Awesome. What should a student do if they are approached while at the bus stop by a stranger who is offering them a ride?
Well, if it's a stranger, of course, you never want to get in the vehicle with them, okay? And that's where hopefully an adult is maybe waiting. If they're small kids, an adult might be there, or someone, if it's high school kids, maybe someone there that is watching them as well. But you never get in the car with a stranger. I mean, never. You can call 911 though if someone's trying to do that, which is a good idea to do. And then we can maybe get in the area and check out the vehicle. Okay, but you always want to leave the strangers alone.
Very good. Very good. You're talking about, strangers and buses and things of that nature. I know that a lot of times we may have drivers too. We may have students that drive to school, high school. What are some tips that you can give them? Because I know that a lot of times they get in there, they're excited about the first day or whatever. What are some tips that you can give and share with them?
Well, you said a good word there, is that excited to get there.
Yeah, right.
Okay, in defensive driving we teach, that your emotions drive you a little bit. So even though you're excited, you're going to want to drive a little faster just because that's what your emotions are. So we don't want you to drive faster. We don't want you to be aware that that emotion can kind of make you drive a little bit quicker. So pay attention to your speed. The speed limits in the city are 30 miles an hour unless you're in an area like in the industrial part. So you should not drive over 30. And then some areas have school zones around the schools, and they are lower, so they may be 25 or whatever. So pay attention to the speed limits, pay attention to the school zones, and also too, if you have friends, Class D license holders, which are the 16-year-olds once they got it. CP license, which are learner's license, of course, have to have a driver that's licensed with them. But the ones with the Class D who are driving to school, they'll be there, they have restrictions, like the number of passengers in the car with them and all, and they need to pay attention to those. Because if you're caught with a violation and you're violating that permit, it may hamper your attempts to get that Class C license when you're later. So follow those rules and just keep what you're required to have in there.
And once again, speaking about safety in driving, especially with school-age students, can you talk a little bit about texting and driving? I know that's a big thing among especially
Yes.
that age.
Yes.
So just talk about a little bit about that.
Okay.
How
Well, that law's been around for about a year or so, and it's really, really simple. It seemed complicated when it first came out, but it boils down to two things. If you have a Class D license or you're under the age of 18, you can't use a phone in the car at all. You can't text, you can't drive, you can't use an iPod, you can't use anything that's electronic. You can't use it at all, except in an emergency or something like that.
Right.
If you have a Class C license, which means you're 18 because you can't get it until you're 18, then you can talk on the phone, but no one can text in this state anymore at all. It's illegal to text. And that means even if you're stopped at a stop sign, even though you're not moving, you can't shoot off a quick text. That's illegal. You can't do that.
I'm actually glad that you said that, because I know I have even thought, okay, let me stop real quick. So I'm glad you told me that.
Nope, you have to be off the road, pulled off the side of the road, and that's the safest thing to do anyway. If you're going to make a call, pull over and stop and talk. There's studies showing that it's a distractor. Just talking is a distractor, and texting is even worse. So just pull over and stop.
Absolutely. You're talking about not even to send a text, and when you stop, and there's been so many times you get one that'll come in, and you're so tempted to check it when you stopped at a stop sign or stopped at the light or whatever. But you just for that that split second, you can lose focus of everything that's around you.
Something can change that quickly while you're doing that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I like to tell when we teach a defensive driving class, a lot of us won't answer our house phone. If you have a cell phone and you have a house phone, they'll let the answer machine catch it, because you never know who's calling. Well, you can do the same thing with that cell phone too. Just because it rings doesn't mean you have to pick it up right then. You can wait a minute or two. You can wait till your destination or time to pull over and stuff.
Absolutely.
So wait.
Right.
That's the key.
And you were talking about a moment ago, we a couple of things, talking about licensing, and we talked about, the different colors of lights on the bus and everything. There are, penalties for people that violate those, those laws and stuff of that nature. Talk to the significance of that and how it impacts their license and driving abilities.
Okay. Well, as far as violating a school bus, it's one of the higher points you can get, and of course, I believe you can only in a 2-year period, you can only lose 15 points. So school bus is right up there with, I think half of that is on the first violation. And then the fine is pretty hefty. Okay, for that. Texting and driving, of course, there's points assessed for that too. And all these violations can, if you're a student driver, can impact your trying to get your license when it's time for your Class C. It can impact all those things, depending what the violation is and all. Of course, parents it can lead to the same thing as license suspension, all that sort of thing, and it's all very serious stuff. Moving violations and all very serious stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's all there to keep everybody safe.
That's right. That's right. I think about it sometimes. I was going through an intersection one day, and I had the green light, and the cars approaching had the red light, and the car just came right on through. And had I not kind of stopped to kind of look, you got T-boned, and when the person realized what they had done, they had the phone in their hand. When they realized what they done, they threw that phone in the floorboard of the car, because we're talking about that split second. Again, things change just that quickly. And we're talking about safety tips for our young people. Well, also these carry over to our adults as well.
That's right.
Absolutely. And we're talking a little bit more, and I know Rob may have another question, but I'm going to ask a little bit about school resource officers, because we continue to talk about safety for our kids, and with the recent events that we've seen around the country here, I'm sure the kids as well as the parents are concerned about safety as they go onto the campuses there. Speak to that school resource officer for us.
Well, the two high schools in the city, Troop High School and LaGrange High School, both have a school resource officer assigned to it. A City of LaGrange police officer works in the school all day. That's their assignment. Through that assignment, they do different things. Sometimes they teach classes on DUI, other kind of safety things, or maybe drug abuse and that kind of stuff, and the consequences related to those offenses. They also do other classes on life choices, but their biggest job is to bridge the gap between the police and the students, and that's what they're there for. So they're that positive role model, I guess, would be. And but also too, as far as safety goes, I guess their paramount job is that if something happens in that school, whether it could be, I know we like to talk about recent events, where folks are being attacked in school, like what happened in Colorado. Of course, it's a movie theater, but stuff like that. It happens at schools too. They are there, and they are the first line of defense for that school until other units can arrive. So that's their biggest job, is to do that. And then, of course, being that role model and teaching classes and doing that.
Okay, very good. And you say, go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sure. I know we're running out of time, but I just want to know, I know you've been officer for a good amount of time now. So what are some of the most common behaviors that you see students currently doing that you're just like, I kind of wish they wouldn't do that, or I just kind of wish, someone would tell them that, they shouldn't be doing that.
You got an hour?
A lot of things, huh?
That's right. Well, of course, it's a myriad of things, but I guess I could pick the biggest ones. Speeding is the number one.
Always.
It's the most unsafe driving behavior that most drivers think it's okay to do, but it's really not. So speeding's one. Not wearing that seat belt. You're required by law to wear it in this state, and it's just the biggest thing to help you keep safe in that car. Stop sign running, I'd give you that as well. Folks in a rush, and they just don't want to stop for those stop signs, even though they're there to keep you safe. So that way, like Alton was saying, when you're stopped, you can look and make sure it's safe instead of just rolling through it where you don't have that opportunity. And I guess with the stop signs, maybe failing to yield. Not looking when you come out of something, out of a driveway or a parking lot or something. And I just thought of that, saying that. We're talking about school buses and all. A lot of times parents will think about teaching their kids to drive when they're 15, 16. Well, actually, it starts when they're waiting for the school bus or when you're waiting around your yard. And for instance, we're talking about what you're supposed to do around schools. School buses or the bus stops. Kids need to start from the very beginning, stop, look both ways, and then when it's safe, you go. Okay, not just, hey, look, the school bus, the red lights are on, so let me go. Sometimes people don't see those red lights. It's like a red light on the road. They don't see it or they run it.
Yeah.
So when you teach a kid to stop, look both ways, and go when it's safe, you're already reinforcing that habit of doing that when you drive. If you don't teach them when they're young, they're not going to learn it's harder to learn when they're driving.
Absolutely.
And that kind of, it's like paid attention to the walk signal at the intersections. It's the same thing. That's the walk signal is the yellow, green, and red light for pedestrians. And if you teach them to watch those and pay attention to them, you're reinforcing red light and yellow light and stuff like that when they drive.
Absolutely. Well, Lieutenant, I'm going to tell you, we can sit down here and talk for for hours here, like you stated a moment ago, about safety tips for not only for like kids and the young folks that are going to be going back to school, but also for the parents, because it's so important, as you say, the parents are there to reinforce the things that the school teaches them, and it's a community of learning. So I want to thank you very much for coming on and sharing that information with us, and hopefully you won't have to be writing a lot of citations out there for these young
Hope
folks.
not.
Okay.
Hope not.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment.
You see trucks coming in and they're unloading continuously daily. And every time they unload something, you do have packaging. And we have to go on and put that packaging in somewhere to recycle it. And the great thing about it, and we're able to recycle it and then benefit at the same time. So it's a win-win-win-win for Mobis, and also a win for the recycling, and also a win for LaGrange. I compare LaGrange almost like the mailman. They're there rain, sleet, or snow, 365 days a year. The City of LaGrange has gave us great service.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from the LaGrange Police Department, Lieutenant Dale Armstrong, as he shared with us some tips on safety for our kids going back to school, as well as parents. I hope that you take all those tips into consideration, and by all means, look out for those school buses. They're carrying precious cargo. And I also want to say thank you to my co-host, Rob Kelly, and they was on today to help me out. And Rob, we just want to wish you the very best, and enjoyed you so much here with us over the last couple of months. So we want to wish you the very best in your endeavors as you graduate and matriculate with that law degree pretty soon.
Definitely. I just want to thank you and Tom Hall, definitely the mayor, and LaGrange itself, for having me and allowing me to get such a wealth of experience from interning with you guys.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Pleasure.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for City Week this week. And as always, I'm going to invite you back for more of
City Week.